tell me a little bit about your mom and dad.
Well, my mom was a seamstress and my father was a blacksmith.
And where were they? Where did you grow up?
Well, I spent 2 years in the Ukraine and 8 years in Germany.
In Ukraine, whereabouts in Ukraine?
Well, I can remember the yard.
Yeah.
I was only 2 then.
Right.
And my grandfather told my mother to kill a chicken. And he brought it out on a stump. She put it down and she went like this and she couldn't do it.
Oh.
He came back out, he says, if you don't kill it, your kids won't eat. So then she went, closed her eyes and went, ugh. And the chicken took off.
No kidding.
And so then my brother was sitting there and he says, Mother, Mother, the chicken is looking at me. I never forgot that.
What was your dad's name?
Simon.
Simon? And did he have brothers and sisters?
He was an orphan.
He was an orphan? Does he know much about his background at all?
Nope. The Russians took him into the service at 7.
Oh my God.
So that's what he remembered, was being taken by the Russians.
And did he talk much about that? And he taken by the Russians.
They taught him to be a blacksmith.
Ah, okay.
So he shoot horses and stuff like that.
Right. And so he was part of the Russian community, you know. And what about your mother? What was her name?
Piasecka.
Okay. I won't ask you to spell it.
Maria, her first.
And what's her background? What was her family like? Did she talk about that much?
I don't talk about them.
Okay.
They're all gone except for one brother,
Right.
and he's not well.
Okay. So your mother, did she have brothers or sisters?
I don't know.
Okay. So you were born in Ukraine, and what year was that?
39.
1939. And you stayed in Ukraine for how many years? Just a couple of years?
2 years.
2 years. And then what happened? What did your dad tell you what happened?
My mother told me, not my dad.
Okay.
She told me that the Russians came in, they won whatever they were fighting, I don't know. They were fighting with the Ukraine. So the Ukraine lost. And the Russians took us as prisoners and marched us into Germany.
Now, when they marched you, so it would be your mother and you, and who else?
3 brothers and 1 sister.
Okay, so do you remember the march at all? Were you in a wagon? How did they get you there?
Well, they walked most of the time,
Yeah.
when they could walk.
Right. And what else did your mother say about how were you treated?
In Germany?
Well, yeah.
In Germany, not so good in the beginning.
Okay. How so? What did they do to you?
Well, they made my family work so much in the fields
Right.
and the hot sun and everything. So, I don't know. It's just confusing more than anything.
So, when you were in Ukraine, did the Germans take over Ukraine? Is that how you got marched into Germany?
No, we got marched into Germany by the Russians.
Okay. Okay. So you became a kind of a Russian prisoner of war.
Kind of.
Yeah.
They called it, what did they call us? Misplaced persons?
Mm-hmm.
We were misplaced.
It says I'm reading this here, the Germans occupied and took over the country, and in 1942 the Russians attacked the German occupying force, and the Germans led thousands of Ukrainians back into Germany. Is that you?
Must be.
Yeah. And it's really an article about Basil, your brother.
Mm-hmm.
Basil was only 5.5 years old when he and his family were forced to relocate to a labor camp in Germany.
Yeah.
Basil had 2 brothers, Nicholas and Stefan, and 2 sisters, Anna and Rosalie.
Mm-hmm.
And Anna was the oldest child and Rosalie the youngest. You.
Yeah, I was a baby.
Yeah. And Basil was the second to the youngest. It took 3.5 weeks for the trip from the country to Germany. And they stood in line to receive their food, which was usually only soup made from water and potato fields.
And worms.
And worms? How did they taste?
I didn't eat any. I'll tell you about that later.
Well, you talk about it now.
Oh,
Tell me about the worms.
they gave us soup.
Right.
My mother looked at it and she saw what was in it. And we were hungry. She said, you're not going to eat that. Get your instruments. We had instruments that we made ourselves.
Right.
Marched us out into the field and made us bury it. So then we went back to the farm. We didn't eat it though.
You didn't eat it, huh?
No. And then when we came over here, I thought the spaghetti was the worms.
Oh, golly.
Because when they put them in the soup, they kind of cleaned them out.
Yeah. That's amazing. So here you are in Germany, and do you remember much about kind of day-to-day living there?
Oh, some of it.
Yeah, what do you remember?
Oh, I remember the farm,
Right.
and I remember what they did to my brother and sister, and I remember the chickens and the cows.
What did they do to your brothers and sisters?
But
What did they do to your brothers and sisters?
Well, one Sunday they went to church, which was 5 kilometers away,
Oh, golly.
and we're not allowed to do that.
Right.
So when they came back, somebody had told the farmer where they had gone, and he made them take their clothes off to the waist, and took a cat of 9 tails and beat the heck out of them. So they were bleeding in the back and everything. Made them go out and work in the field.
Now, which brother was this?
The oldest one.
Okay.
My sister was the oldest, and he was the next in line.
This would have been Stefan?
No, Nick.
Nick, yeah. Oh, this could be Nick, yeah, okay. Did he, getting beat like that, what was your reaction, what was your mother's reaction to all that?
She didn't like it.
Yeah. Could you complain to anybody? Could they talk to anybody?
Who would you complain to?
Well, that's very good point. Very good point. Now, when the farmers themselves, were they part of the Nazis? Do you know? Were they
No.
part of the SS or?
They were. Some of them were part of the Nazis, but not for long. They were chased out of there.
Right. And so, what else? Did they do anything to your sister too?
No.
No. Yeah. So that had to have been kind of eye-opening for you watching this or hearing about all this stuff.
Well, I saw most of it, and I heard a lot of it.
Yeah.
So,
Did they treat all people like that?
oh yeah, some worse,
Yeah.
some worse.
Now, how many people were on the farm? Sounds like you were staying on a farm, right?
It was a farm.
Yeah.
That's where they worked.
Okay. How many people lived there?
Oh, for me, that's hard to say because I was too little.
Right. So your family, and then were there other families?
I have no idea.
Okay. Did your mother talk to you about how they, when you were so young, you were just crawling around, or did they make you do anything?
Peel potatoes.
So you were potato peeler.
Yeah.
Potato peeler, yeah, wow, that was hard to say. And normally food, would they serve you in the breakfast and dinner, or how did that work?
We didn't get food.
Okay.
We got a slice of bread for breakfast, and another one for lunch, and another one for dinner. My mother used to save hers to give to us kids. That's why she only weighed 70-some pounds.
Oh my gosh. So I'm reading this article again about your brother. After the family arrived in north central Germany, they were sent to live in a 3-room space above a barn. Did you remember living above a barn?
No. I remember living in a barrack,
Okay,
and they put about 2-3 families into one room.
okay. And they became unpaid laborers for a German farmer, who was also an SS trooper.
Uh-huh.
The family wasn't permitted to cook or plant a garden. They were given water, 7 loaves of dark, heavy bread a week, and 1 cooked meal a day.
I don't remember getting a cooked meal a day.
That was Basil. Basil again said he remembered that he was always hungry. I bet you were too.
Yeah.
And when he was 7, he picked a few plums from a farmer's orchard. The farmer started beating him for eating the fruit. And Basil's mother stepped in to protect him, and the farmer beat and kicked her too.
Yeah.
So, do you remember how long? I mean, I know you were young. How long did you live on that farm?
Till 1945, I believe it was. No, longer than that. We came over here in 1950, so about that long.
But the war ends in 1945.
45.
Do you remember anything about that? Your treatment changed? Did anything change when that happened?
Well, I hadn't seen any black people before,
Okay.
and the Americans came over, and they had a black man, and he saw me through the fence, and he reached into his pocket like that, and he threw something at me, and it was chocolate.
Oh my gosh.
So that's the first time I ever saw a black man.
So he treated you some American chocolate, probably Hershey's bar.
Yeah, probably, I don't know. I didn't read English then.
No, I get it. So how did the Americans? So when you're on the farm, I'm visualizing this, and then one day did the farmer leave? Did something happen when the American troops came?
Well, they took over. They took over and set us free.
So they actually came in the farm
Hmm?
and took it over, and the farmer disappeared? Do you remember? I mean,
They didn't tell me what happened to him,
yeah,
but I remember the Americans giving my brother Nick a gun
right.
and telling him to shoot the farmer. And my brother said, no, I can't do that because God says no and my mother says no.
Yeah,
My mother was the boss of the family.
yeah. So the Americans kind of walk in one day, you see them, and they give you chocolate. And did they kind of stay on the farm for a little bit, or they?
I don't know where they went.
Yeah, but they didn't stay long.
Not on the farm, no, they took us.
Or took you.
Yeah,
So the Americans took you.
yeah,
Okay, and did they take you to another camp?
yeah, seem to recall that.
Do you remember being driven in a truck, or how did they?
No, I can't remember that one.
Yeah,
We walked most of the time.
yeah. And then you went to so the Americans are now in control of you. And then, do you remember where you went next?
Oh, we got moved once a month.
Ah, okay. Okay, I'm going to read here what, again, Basil said to see if you can refresh your recollection. The family lived under inhumane conditions for over 3.5 years in this German place. And Basil said he had worked through, was just a child, and the farmer made him kill pigeons by pulling their heads off. The family did whatever they were told because they lived in continual fear of being killed or taken away. They mended and patched whatever clothes they brought with them and never received anything new. Sound about right?
Yeah, more or less. We didn't have any shoes. My mother used to take burlap bags and wrap them around our feet
My golly.
to walk on.
Yeah. And I assume everything was dirt and mud and Do you remember, was there cattle? Was it a cattle farm?
Yeah, there was cattle there because my brother Nick was milking cows one day.
Ah.
I wanted to see him, so I walked over to the barn and the doors were open. And I called his name and he turned around and he said, "Open your mouth." And I opened my mouth and he took the cow's teeth and aimed it at me and got me right in the mouth.
My golly, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
That's a great memory. And
Oh yeah.
And they had chickens and other.
Yeah, my brothers Steve and Nick went to the barn and killed a pig one night when it was dark. And the pig was squealing and everything, but they made, what did they call that when they put the string across? To hoist something up.
Just a pulley.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
guess that's
yeah.
what you call it.
Yeah.
And they got it up to the window. This was on the farm. And my mother was so scared.
You saw a dead pig.
Because she had to clean it.
Oh golly, of course.
And there's nothing to clean it with.
Yeah.
So they never caught him though. Another time my brother Basil, they accused him of stealing eggs. And he didn't because he had shorts on and no pockets. So they took him in and stuck a corkscrew in his ear and turned it. So they broke his eardrum. He didn't get that fixed till he got here.
Yeah. Oh golly.
Yeah, fun.
Well, it sounded inhumane. Then Basil's article, which that Basil gave me, when the Americans liberated Germany at the end of the war, the Americans arrived at the farm in tanks and jeeps, and the family remained on the farm for a few weeks because they had no place to go. Then one of the farm workers took them to a displaced persons camp where they stayed for 3 months. At that point, the Russian military wanted to return them to Ukraine, but Basil's family feared they would be sent to Siberia to work in the forced labor camps, and they decided to stay.
My uncle was sent to Siberia.
Yeah. Who was that?
My uncle, I mean.
Yeah. He went to Siberia. Have you sent to Siberia? He was sent to Siberia?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's where he died as far as I know.
Yeah. We never heard from him again, huh?
No. I wrote the letters from my mother later on to his wife, my aunt. And that's about all I know.
Yeah. Well, clearly there was a decision to not go back to Russia.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. Did you remember your mother talking at all to you children? I know you were youngest. You remember seeing her kind of bringing the family in and talking about what's next and what they should do?
Not really.
She was the boss. Your mother was the boss.
Oh, yeah.
In what ways was she the boss? You know,
When
describe
she's-
her.
We were raised that way.
Yeah.
When my mother spoke, we all listened. So we knew what was going on. And we didn't like it, but we had to listen.
Now your father had gone a long time ago, right? Your dad, your father.
He died over here.
Oh, you're here. Okay, got it. But he was still in the Russian army at the time.
No.
No, but he wasn't with you. I mean,
No.
you and your
Yeah.
mother,
No, we were all together.
including your dad.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, she wouldn't let him separate us.
Okay. So so it's your mom and dad then.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, got it. And then you stayed on the German farm, and there they moved again to another camp. And then during the 5-year period, Basil said the family lived in about 13 different camps.
Oh, yeah.
So what were the camps like? Were they? I assume they were much better.
You know, when you had the barracks up on Baker Street,
Yes.
that's what they were like.
Okay.
And then they put 2 or 3 families into one room with blankets for a wall.
Right?
So that's about all I remember.
And that's what all these American displaced persons camps are, DP camps are. Did you remember working there, or what would they do to keep
No,
you busy?
we didn't work there.
Just sort of live there.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think my family needed the rest.
Well, I'm delighted they had that. And then Basil says, finally, you met the, I'm going to misspell or pronounce it right, the Senke family?
Yeah.
Do you remember them?
Yeah, Chenky.
Chenke? What were they like?
They were nice people as far as that goes.
Yeah.
And they signed the, what do you call it? They had to sign a paper that they would give us a place to live when we got here.
Ah. So were they sponsors of yours?
That's what it was, sponsors.
Yeah. Did they leave did you meet them in the camp?
Yeah.
So they were in the camp, and then they left for America?
I don't know what happened to them.
It says here that Schenke family had relatives in Cherry Creek, New York. The Magyar family, who were sponsoring them to immigrate to Jamestown. After the Schenkes came to the United States, they sponsored you. So the Schenkes were sponsored by somebody up in Cherry Creek, which is up in Chautauqua County, north of Chautauqua County. And then when they got here, they sponsored you.
Yeah.
Do you remember your mom and dad kind of saying, guess what, we're going to the United States?
I remember my mom saying we're not going anywhere but the after she knew about the United States. We signed up for Australia, Brazil, and what's the other one, Marie?
Austria.
Brazil, Australia, Argentina. And we had to wait till the visas ran out because I ended up in a clinic with a bad knee for a year. So, I don't know. Then after that, they took us, we were over on the good side of the the wall.
Right, Germany, yeah.
Yeah. And my uncle and aunt were on the other side. They made him a deal. They gave him a bag of tobacco and a bag of salt if he went back. And he took it, the dummy.
So now he ended in East Germany and you're in West Germany.
Yeah.
Now we got him. And so you get a chance to come to the United States.
My mother signed up for the United States, yeah.
Was it exciting for you to go on a boat?
13 days.
Yeah.
We went through a typhoon.
Oh my God.
That was a thrill. The waves were so high I could look up at them. And they herded us downstairs.
Right?
Because it was a Navy ship. I remember the name of the Navy ship.
Tell me.
USS General Ballou.
General
Ballou.
Ballou? Yeah, be darned. And so you're in the USS General Ballou, and it looks like everybody came, your parents, your siblings, except for Anna.
No, she stayed behind.
Yeah.
She had a boyfriend.
Ah. So, and then she married that boyfriend and stayed.
No, she didn't marry the boyfriend.
Oh, okay.
She had a baby though.
Okay.
And she lived alone, as far as I know. I don't know anything about her.
She remained in West Germany.
Yeah.
Then Basil says you arrived in Jamestown after an 11-day boat trip and an all-night...
13-day. He doesn't remember that right.
Ah, gosh. 13.
Oh, he was hurt on the ship, that's right.
And an all-night train ride from New York City. He was 14, and then he then started to go to Jamestown High School. Where did you live when you came to Jamestown?
Up on Tower Street.
Tower Street? Did you have a house to yourself, or you were living with somebody?
No, we were living with the Sankeys first. But then things got a little tough, so we had to leave.
Okay.
But my mother found us an apartment down there on 2nd and Main, and that's where we moved to.
No kidding. What do you remember about, now you're in America? Do you have as a young kid, do you remember much about it? You're 12, let's see, you would have been 12 years old.
No.
Yeah.
I was 10 years old when I got here.
Okay, so you're 10, and you remember much about America, Jamestown, America?
Oh, well,
The impressions?
I remember I was glad to be here.
Yeah.
But no, I didn't know that much about America. So we just kind of went along with everything.
And of course, you did not know English.
Oh, I learned some English on the boat.
Really?
Yeah, the guy that herded us into the dining room,
Right.
he stood at the main door and he'd say, "Okay, let's go. Okay, let's go. Okay, let's go." So that's what I learned was, "Okay, let's go."
That's good English. Well, that'll get you far. That'll get you far.
And then the captain got to liking me for some reason, I don't know why. I was just a kid. And he gave me oranges. He kept me in his office part of the day and gave me oranges. And I'd take them back to my mother. And she'd split them up for my brothers and my sister. So that's about all I can remember.
Now, when you get over here, you can just speak, is it Russian?
Russian, Polish, German. I'm trying to think of what else. I've picked up some Czech, Yugoslavian, Romanian,
Wow.
but I forgot all of it except for the German and Polish and Ukrainian. So I can remember most of the German, but not a lot.
Yeah. So then how did you and your siblings, and your mother and dad, learn English? Did you just go to school?
My mother went to night school.
She did?
Yeah, she walked from Mason Street all the way up to the high school.
No kidding.
Yeah.
And so she took English, second language, or first language, I guess, at Jamestown High School.
Hmm.
Wow, good for her. And then what about you kids? Did you take it in school?
Well, we went to Willard Street School.
Willard Street, I remember that.
You do?
I played baseball right there. There was a field.
Yeah, I remember that.
Okay, Little League field. That was me. I was the kid there. Yeah, I remember Willard Street School. So that's where you went to Willard Street.
Yeah.
And was it difficult for you because you're
I picked up English in about 6 months.
Okay.
I mean, so everybody could understand me.
Right.
And I met a friend there, and she taught me a lot of English.
Right.
And what she didn't teach me, the teacher did.
Right.
Because she said, "You got to learn English. If you're going to live here, you're going to talk it.
Right.
Otherwise, they'll send you back to Germany." Well, there was a threat you couldn't forget.
Did she really say that?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
She wasn't serious, but I didn't know that.
You didn't know that, yeah. What other memories do you have of Willard Street School?
Oh, I had another teacher that did my hair the first time. She cut it, and she permed it. And I remember the one teacher, I'm trying to remember her name. I think that was in Love School, though. Well, her name was Mrs. Goebel, and the other one was, can't think of it now. I forgot. The stroke makes you forget a lot of things.
You're really good. You got a great memory.
Oh, I don't know about that. I was better before I had the stroke.
Did they have at Willard Street, the top of Willard Street was a water reservoir and a park? Park right there. It was called the
Yeah.
Reservoir.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Did they have such a, was it there?
Yeah, my brother and I used to walk up there.
Yeah. It's just up a hill, I was right
Yeah.
at the top.
In Jefferson School,
Yeah.
high school.
Yeah. I went to Bush School, that was just built right up at the top there, the reservoir, and then I went to Jefferson, like you. Because they shut,
Was it Mrs. Goebel?
no, I didn't have Mrs. Goebel.
Oh. I'm trying to think. Can't think of it. Tonight I'll think of it and it'll wake me up.
Yeah, well, give it to Basil, he'll call me. So then you went to Willard Street School and then to Jefferson
Yeah.
School. And during this time, what was your mom and dad doing?
My dad was working at Hope's Windows
Okay,
and my mother was doing odd jobs cleaning.
okay.
Yeah.
And how about your siblings, your brothers and stuff? Were they just kind of integrating in the school system?
Well, they went to work.
Ah,
They were old enough to work,
yeah,
but I don't know where they started working at. I know that Basil, his father, worked at Jamestown Metal Corp,
okay.
and he was there for 30-some years. How many years was that?
I'm not sure.
It was like 30-something, 33. And my brother Nick signed up for the Air Force.
Hmm.
Went to the Air Force thinking he could go back to Germany because he wanted some things cleared up.
Yeah,
And wouldn't send him to Germany. He was too good a mechanic. He could fix anything.
right.
So they kept him in this country. That's when he wanted to join the VFW. They wouldn't let him because he never left the country.
Oh my gosh. Because it's a veterans of foreign wars. Yeah. So Nick wanted to go back and to learn something. Did he ever tell you what it is he was?
I think there
into?
was a girl involved.
Ah, okay. Wanted to check her out.
That's my idea.
Okay. So what about you? What did you do? You graduated from high school?
No.
No?
No.
Okay.
I made it through 11th,
Okay.
and then I had to quit.
Okay.
My mother needed the money, so I had to quit.
Did you go to work then?
Yeah.
Where did you work at?
National Worsted Mills,
Okay. Now, was that down in
Faulkner,
Faulkner? Yeah.
by the bridge.
Yeah, yeah. How long were you there?
Oh, I don't know, probably a year maybe.
Okay.
And then I went to work at Murphy's.
Sure. Downtown?
Uh-huh.
At the counter? Did you work the counter?
I worked in the, where the cards are.
Okay. Was that upstairs, downstairs?
No, it's on the main floor.
Main floor? Okay. It's funny, I remember, because Murphy's, and then there was Woolworth, right?
Yeah.
Right next door.
And my mother worked at the beauty shop across the street, across Main Street.
Right.
So she liked that because then she could pick me up after work and we'd walk home.
Oh, that worked out great, yeah. Did you use the bus at the time, the bus system?
No.
No.
We walked from Faulkner to Jamestown
My
and
God.
from Jamestown to Faulkner. Because my mother wanted to make sure that my brother Steve got his lunch or his supper at the shop. So she'd walk all the way down there.
Wow. That's unbelievable.
Yeah. And here I am, I can't walk.
Well, that's remarkable. I live in Lakewood, so I would think about walking to Jamestown every day, and I wouldn't. So
We thought nothing of that, of walking to Lakewood.
yeah. So what was the draw to Lakewood? The beach, the water?
A lot of things, mainly water, the beach, but Mother liked the park there,
Right.
and the kids on the swing.
Mm-hmm.
He'd come over there and they'd let him swing on the swings.
Sure.
So lots of things like that. She liked looking at houses because she had dreams of buying a house.
Yeah, yeah.
So she'd look at houses while we were walking. Yeah.
While in Jamestown, do you remember Allen Park? And do you remember that?
Uh-huh. It wasn't like it is now.
No, a lot changed.
And then I remember I got a job at 12 years old.
You did?
Yeah, cleaning the Fenton building with Bertha.
No kidding.
Yeah, and then I washed all the stairs all the way down.
The Fenton Building, all the way on 2nd Street.
Yeah,
Yeah.
2nd and Main.
2nd and Main, yeah. Well, the building is still there.
Yeah, and the restaurant is too.
The restaurant, no, it's...
It wasn't there then.
No, they've really done a nice job of doing that at 2nd Street. Oh, that's great. Do you ever reflect at all on your, I know you're kind of young, but on your experience at Ukraine, you're Ukrainian, hearing all the things that are going on in Ukraine now, do you think about that?
Yeah, all the time.
What's your thoughts about that?
I just don't think it's right for them to go in there and start it again.
Right,
Because they did it the first time, and that should have been enough.
right,
There's enough land
right,
to give to everybody.
right.
But what are you going to do?
Well, I think you root for Zelensky.
Yeah,
He's quite a guy.
you better believe it.
Quite a guy. Quite a guy. So, you then come here and you work. Did you have a family? Did you?
Just what I came here with.
There you go. Perfect. Well, tell me what happened now. Your mother, did she stay here in Jamestown?
Yeah.
To the end? And your dad, the same thing?
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, we'd go to Buffalo a lot, to the Broadway Market and stuff like that.
Yeah.
With my brother Steve, he bought a car, a Ford.
Okay.
So
And I know Basil worked at, your brother Basil worked at Cummins Engine, Jamestown Engine Plant for many, many years. And that's what this article here is. It's an article that the Jamestown Engine Plant did on him to kind of explain your experiences. Because you talk about Basil after graduating from high school, went to work at a tool and die shop. And then at age 20, he met and married his wife, Faye, who was a nurse, and has 2 grown children, Basil Gregory, I'm a Gregory, and Cynthia Ann. And talks about Basil's, quietly, working at the Jamestown Engine Plant. There's a picture of you here in this thing, which is probably this one.
yeah.
Tell me about this picture.
I don't know. I can't see it.
Oh, okay, well, that'll do it. It looks like a family picture. You
Basil,
know?
you want to tell them who they are?
Most of them are.
Pardon?
We know who most of them are.
Okay, who are they? Okay, is she here? Can you point her out?
Basil's seen it too.
So this is my mom.
Okay.
That's my grandmother.
Yep.
That's Basil. That's Anna. That's my grandfather. And that, say is my uncle Nick. We don't know who these people are.
The one on the very left
Do you?
is Steve.
Yeah. The rest of them, there's a couple there we don't know. She thinks maybe there's a person there that kind of got adopted by the family.
Roman.
Oh man, that's great. I'm glad you kept that picture.
Then we have them all grown up.
Yes, oh my golly, look at that. So here you are today, 2025, and you knew I was going to come today. Was there a question you thought I would ask you that I have not?
Not really.
No?
I wasn't a good writer. I couldn't write novels or anything.
So let me ask, we have the peanut gallery here, the folks here. What questions do you want to ask? Are you curious about?
Well, I know my grandmother, when the Germans first came to Ukraine, they wanted to separate the family, and I know my grandmother helped keep them together. I wanted, if you could tell about that, about what she said to them.
Oh,
Did you hear the question?
Do you remember when they wanted to separate the family and what Grandma said to them? The Germans, when
No.
they got there and they wanted to
Well,
separate the
the
family?
one wanted to shoot us.
Yeah, tell them
Or-
what
Wanted to
Grandma
shoot
said.
Nick and Steve and whoever. And she said, no, then you might as well shoot them all because they won't live without the other. One won't live without the other. So shoot them all. And they backed off.
Who said that, your mother?
My mother, she was a little Benny Rooster.
Why would they want to shoot Nick and Steve?
Not, they didn't want to shoot, but they wanted to shoot everybody in the end, but mother said, yeah, that's okay, but you don't shoot one or two.
Okay, so this is the Russians. The Russians that,
The Germans.
Oh, the Germans.
The Germans, right? Wasn't
Yeah,
it the
German.
The Germans,
oh, the
yeah.
Germans, oh my gosh. Any other questions you're,
I don't really have questions. I mean, I've listened to my grandma. I lived with my grandma for 14 years, so I've heard all of it.
yeah.
Or,
Anything we're sort of missing for the family this is for the family.
I don't think so. I mean, I just know little stories of things that happened. I don't think of much more that could be.
Yeah.
I remember her telling me about, remember you said you and Uncle Basil were going somewhere and they shot a bunch of people? And you said they put them in a big hole and you were
Oh.
hiding behind a tree. And you said you went to get Grandpa because somebody's hand was moving. I don't know if you remember
No, I don't
that
remember
now.
that.
She said she went to get my grandfather and when he came back it wasn't moving anymore. So they saw a lot of stuff like that, people getting shot. My grandmother said she was working at the farm on the field and she had another baby. Remember that, Joey?
Yeah,
She said she was working and her water broke.
Oh my gosh.
And
she had the baby right there in the field.
she said the guards came like every 20 minutes, half hour with their guns and if you weren't working they'd kill you. And she was scared because now the baby was coming. What was she going to do? Because she said if she had the baby and they saw it, they would kill the baby so that she could continue working. But she
Yeah.
said she went over, because they had long dresses and aprons. She said she went over a little bit off the edge after the guard went by and there was leaves and she had the baby and covered the baby with leaves and went back to work and hoped the baby would never cry because they would kill them both. And then you said the baby died. How long did he didn't live long?
He only lived 24 hours
Yeah.
because they made her carry those tubs full of water out to the field in Germany. And she carried it on her hip when she was pregnant. So they figure that's what happened to him. But because he had a big lump right here
Yeah,
and he smelled funny.
yeah. So that would have been the youngest, I mean, if
It was after me.
after you were. Oh man, what a traumatic experience.
Well, everybody goes through something,
Yeah.
so
Wow, to have a child in the field and fearful that both of you would be caught, child and you.
I don't know. But that's my baby now.
Well, this has been fabulous. You're terrific.
Yeah, she is. She brings me food every day.
No, you're terrific. I'm sure she is too. I'm sure she is too. But this is terrific. Thank you. I really appreciate you taking time.
Well,
to
you're
do
more
this.
than welcome.
Yeah, this was wonderful. Thank you, Basil, for pulling this together, and thanks for.
She doesn't usually like to talk about all that with people, so she did a good job.
Yeah. Well, this will be for the family, and I'm delighted we had a chance to do this.
You're not going to mention my name in that article, are you?
No. I've read Basil's name. You know.
Oh, well, that won't do the family I'm thinking of any good.
All right, I'll let you go. I'm sorry to have disturbed all your day here, but it's been
You
great.
didn't.
It's been fun.
You kind of broke it up for us.
Well, thank you so much. I'm going to just shut this down.